didn't know what you were actually talking about. I had a feeling, but that's not.
Just hit it again, it comes through a different model.
And could we have a roll call, please?
Councilperson Loudermilk. Councilperson Alsip. Councilperson Wager.
Here.
Councilperson Dees.
Here.
Councilperson Norris.
Here.
Councilperson Thompson. Councilperson Thacker.
Here.
That's 5 here, 2 absent.
And I just want to say I did get a call from the other two, and they had family to attend to tonight, and so they said they would not be here, so I was made aware of it. So under communication for elected officials, other officials and agencies of the county, the first one I'd like to hear from tonight is Bill Watson. I know Bill had a commitment, and but I asked him to come and give us an update what's going on with Mr. Watson.
Good evening. Thank you. I'm Bill Watson. I'm the Director of Court Services for Vigo County. I was contacted earlier today and asked to come and talk about something that's going on with the Community Corrections Center that we've been discussing for a while. It involves the Security Operation Center, basically the brain hub that runs that building. For the last several years, I've been trying to get dollars from the state of Indiana through my budget to replace that system. We've maintained it through our budget for the last 17 years. That system is that old, and we've serviced it, maintained it. For some people, it still operates on Windows 7, so that tells you how old it is and how outdated it is. Recently, with the transfer of moving the 911 agency over there, there's some various times it's been required to take that system up and down. Based on its age, the stress on that, doing that it's not been recommended we do it, but we've had to do it. So I'm here to talk to the council about this evening that's a cost that we're going to have to address in the very near future, because that system is on borrowed time. If it goes down, then the work release center will be inoperable for a minimum of 3 to 5 months. It will take that long to get appropriations to buy the replacement stuff, to order the replacement stuff, to get it programmed, get it in and installed. So I want people to be aware of that. This last week, we took it down last Friday, I believe it was.
Right.
And there was some people there from the IT department, the sheriff's department, and Commissioner Klinkenbeard knows as well that it was probably a scary 40 minutes or so. At one point, we thought we were going to be faced with sending 120 people to jail on Friday afternoon because it would not come back up. IT worked on it along with engineers and electricians from Sycamore Engineering, my staff. And to be perfectly honest, it finally came back up and no one really knows why. We touched a screw on the back of it and it powered back up. It was kind of like something you'd see in a cartoon, really. But at least it started working again. We were advised that we should not take that system offline anymore unless it is an absolute necessary till we do something about trying to keep it operational. It's on a backup battery system that had failed. We had the company out today. They looked at that did troubleshooting on that and determined why that backup battery system failed. They repaired that today. They said we should not have any more issues with that. But if we go onto a backup battery system, it will only power that for 20 minutes, tops. So if our outside generator goes down, that backup battery only has 20 minutes till we get another generator hooked up to the outside system, which it is prepared for that, but there's no way we can do that in 20 minutes. So that battery will die, and that system will die and go down. Bringing it back up, maybe, maybe not. So just wanted the council to know that that's something that is a real problem. The commissioners are aware of that, and they've worked with me on that, and we've talked about it. Not to put Commissioner Clinkenbeard out there, but he's handled the 911 project, and he and I have had a lot of discussions about it and what's been going on over there and things like that, but we wanted the council to be aware of that as well. And I think for the most part, we've got all the life out of that we're gonna get. It's 17 years old. We've maintained it. I've had service agreements on it. We've replaced parts on it. We've repaired parts on it. But I think, as the company told us, and Joey with the IT department, the director, and Jeff Fox from 911, they were all there the other day and talked about it. And it's basically just outlived its life, guys. I mean, it's running on borrowed time, and, you know, we need to really be prepared to have that system replaced as soon as we can. Because as I say, if it goes down, then we're behind the 8 ball. Then we got to get appropriations. Then we have to order equipment, and it just takes that long to get all that kind of stuff in. So that's what I was asked to come here and kind of give everyone a briefing about this evening and let them know where that stands. As of today, we have 109 people in the residential center, and we're slated to get 10 more tomorrow, which puts us back at capacity again. We'll be running at 120 people again tomorrow. So, and it's full pretty much all of the time now.
Here's a question I would have. So what would be the cost of purchasing a new system and then the cost of installing the system?
It would be somewhere north of $300,000. The system 17 years ago when we put it in was around $200,000. And I had a quote about 2 years ago from the company trying to get the state of Indiana to supply some money for it at that time, and it was like $225,000, $230,000, almost $250,000, and that was about 2 years ago. So I'm guessing somewhere north of $300,000 at this point.
How long does it take to get it after you order it?
Once everything is loaded and go, they'll hook it up in a day and make it run. It's just procuring all the parts, the different parts of the system, and getting them in, putting it together and programming it. But they'll come out and install it and put it online in one day and make
After
it
you order it,
operational.
how long does it take to hook it all up? I mean, to build it?
They say depends on the arrival of the parts. That's where they say it could take 3 months from beginning to end. Because they order this stuff, it's electronics technology, however long it takes to get it. And then what they do is once they get the system, they build it just like they would in our building, in their shop. And then they load all the software in it. They troubleshoot it. They run it. Then once they see that it's doing what it's supposed to do, then they will shut it down. They will take it back apart and bring it out to our building and reinstall it all there and put it back together again and put it up to run.
And the thing that I talked with Mr. Watson about is that not only is it the cost of the equipment, but if we are down potentially 3 months or more, we would have to, those people can't just be released, they would have to be incarcerated, and we don't have room for them, so we would be paying for them to go out of county. So there's the other expenditure that I don't want to see, you know. So anyhow, I just thought that this was a relevant point to address and share with the rest of the, yes, Council.
I was gonna say, Cheryl had an idea.
Turn on your mic. I tried.
The Chief Deputy Auditor had an idea regarding a potential funding source for this necessity.
Okay.
I think that we could probably lit correctional rehab. I'll get a confirmation on that, but I think that that's probably where it'd be best to come from and where you could fund that from without hitting
Yeah,
one of the other
anybody's,
funds.
there's a surplus in there from the,
Okay. Yeah, it was just something, he called me last Friday on it, and we had a conversation. I knew we had a meeting coming up this week, so I just thought I'd share that information with everybody and hear it straight from Mr. Watson instead of me just repeating what I heard.
Well, and I want to add to that, I mean, aside from the fact of housing people, we've seen success with the program, and so to have people go into a different situation as they're making progress, and, you know, I really, you know, this is an important one, and we need to continue with it. It's something that we know we're doing well. So, you know, as far as me, I'm saying support it, let's move on and make sure it happens, because I think the effects could be big. So.
Well, thank you.
And is it, just for me to understand, is it the security system, or is it like data, or what it all?
It gathers all the data from the center. I mean, it runs all the in-out scheduling, the monitoring software, all the door locks, all the cameras, all
Because
the
of all the
lights. I
traffic.
mean, it runs, it's literally the brain box of that
okay.
detention
Okay.
side. And, you know, the commissioners have been very responsive and supportive right away with it when we talked about it. And I know Commissioner Klinkenbeard and I had several discussions, and he knows I was very apprehensive about taking it down, but we really didn't have any other choices. And, you know, I said, we gotta hold our breath here when we do this, because it is so old. And the company recommends that we only take it down 3 times a year, and that's for the regularly scheduled service maintenance through our agreement. We took it up and down 3 or 4 times this month, or in the last 30 days. And that's why I said, you know, this last time when it didn't want to come back up, I was like, oh geez, oh geez, oh geez. And, you know, kind of walking around in circles for a little while, hoping it would come back up. And as I say, it finally did, and we really don't know why it did, honestly. And, you know, they were out and looked at it again today for us, and as I said, they fixed the one thing, but they just said, they keep saying the same thing. It's old. They'll tell you the life expectancy on it, shelf life on it, and Joey and I talked about this, they say is 5 to 7 years. If you maintain it and service it like we have, you can get more out of that, but they said that's generally 10 to 12 years, and we're on year 17 looking at 18. So we've more than got our lifespan out of it. That's what we've done.
Maybe you can get some kind of an award for
Well,
length
it-
of service.
it-
Will it be up to the commissioners, Commissioner Klinkenbeard, is that your bailiwick to order that sort of a thing? To initiate to
Expenditure.
say the go?
Bill, can you get a quote on that
Yes,
and get it to us? so
we're
that-
waiting on one now.
You're waiting on one now?
Yes,
Can you-
Commissioner Klinkenbeard asked me to get one last Friday, right after we had, I'm sorry, yeah.
Sure.
I keep looking back at it.
No, that's, we've been in constant contact. I mean, if it's something that we can move forward with, I mean, that's why I asked Bill to come, you know, speak on this, because he knows more about what's going on.
Sure.
Some of this is
Exactly.
foreign to me, but it's very important, it's very vital that we take care of this. So we would be happy to present that to you, with Bill, to you guys, if we have a special call, however we want to proceed on this.
Sounds pretty important, I
I think you're getting estimates and things like that for what this is gonna cost.
Yeah, and they sent you the quote that we're waiting on from them now. And I spoke to them again this afternoon, and they said they're waiting on some information back from some of the hardware providers, to see what those prices
Yeah.
are and what's changed on them. They said in the last 6 months, made a price difference for it. So that's where we're at right now.
Does anybody else have questions for Mr. Watson or Mr.
Sounds like
Klinkenbeard?
you guys are on top of it, that's a good deal.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other elected officials, other officials, or agencies of the county? Mark, did you have something you want to talk about?
I think, first off, a little housekeeping stuff before I get started with what I really want to talk about. Brandon, I had to look around and find you. Congratulations. We have already been in contact, and, you know, we want the best for our city and our county, so we will work together, I promise. So, congratulations. We've already trying to find he wanted to meet at 1:30 today, and I had to take care of work on the child care problem too, so I couldn't make it. We'll make it. Little odds and ends. Person Wager and I just came from Indiana State, where we were asked to be a part of a listening committee for the presidential search. I wish we could have stayed longer because we had some more to say.
We did.
But I think it's a great first step for them to reach out to us.
Yes.
Whether they listen, I don't know. I think they will.
I think they did.
And it was good to be involved, so we want to thank them for that. Also, I don't normally wear a flower, but today I did a ribbon cutting up on the north side of town for M&L Floral. You know, a lot of the north siders think they don't have this and they don't have that, so here they got a floral shop now. So we were glad to be up there cutting ribbon with Kristen and the rest at Chamber of Commerce.
Where is that?
It's kind of across the street from the old Menards. It's at
1501 Fort Harrison.
Yeah, 1501 Fort Harrison. Yes, probably in the old tanning place. They've taken it all over. They're also Northside people. McGuire's, like Gables. It's just a neat. It was great to be there. So, just a little positive. Thought I'd share. Okay.
Real quick.
Yes.
Are they having more of the listening sessions? I think most of us would have liked to have attended, but.
I don't know.
Do you think we should reach out and see if maybe?
We will find out. I mean, they
Okay.
reached out specifically. I don't to the
Yeah,
commissioners.
I think
and I don't know about
I
the
think we
council
had all
or how they.
received some.
But we can find out, and
Okay.
I'm sure they would be happy to hear from us.
They had people here from out of town,
Oh, for-
consultants that they had
Oh, okay. Well, we
engaged.
could
so-
probably I'll pass on an
Just because
email.
Mark and I are such heck raisers with them, you know, I think they just want us to shut up.
Okay, got it, thanks.
Okay. Anything else before I move on? Okay. Well, anyway, council, thank you for having me here tonight. I'm here tonight on behalf of the commissioners and the United Way, asking for your support for our $1 million ARPA plan for investment into local small businesses, nonprofits, and child care programs. We propose $600,000 to small businesses, $200,000 to nonprofits, and $200,000 to quality child care. These three
The only thing I want to tell you is, under our policy that we have here, anything that is under the agenda is not to be discussed on public comment. So we have it on the agenda.
No, I got you, but I don't think it's going to need to be on the agenda if I can
Okay,
finish.
Okay.
Okay. I wasn't sure when I could speak, so that's why I'm speaking
Well, I
now.
have you on the agenda for it, but go ahead.
Okay. I can't keep using that new thing. I'm not new anymore.
No, you're not. Your
My
honeymoon's
honeymoon is
over.
officially over. Believe me, I
Yeah,
felt that the last couple of weeks.
It's over.
But anyway, I'll just go on. I'm sorry. These three sectors were some of the hardest hit in the economy during the pandemic. Some closed their doors, while others have hung on for dear life. As you know, Vigo County has a lot of poverty and a low median household income. Because of that, our nonprofits and our child care systems are strained. Many small businesses have put off expanding or hiring more workers. These funds could be a shot in the arm to get them back on solid ground. This is exactly what ARPA was created for. One thing we want to stress, this is not a United Way program. We approached them, as did the city, to help us allocate these funds. Neither we nor the council have the time nor the expertise to do this job as well as them. United Way works with many of these folks every day, and they specialize in getting help to the most needy. Also, by using the United Way, it takes any hint of political favors, etc., out of the equation, as well as them being accustomed to following all rules and regulations. The United Way is uniquely positioned to know where the gaps in services are and how these funds can best be used to fill those gaps. Through discussions with members of the council, it has been mentioned that you would like the remaining $1.3 million in the revenue loss category earmarked for county programs and projects in exchange for passing this resolution. We are very open to that idea and would like to use these next few weeks to explore that with you. We've come up with a strong plan that addresses critical post-pandemic needs of this community. Our community deserves this support. With that being said, I have a couple other things, but with that being said, we would request that we pull this from the agenda tonight.
And we would grant that as well. We'd talked about it a little bit before. Yeah, that would be, I think anytime we can have more discussion and get things worked out, I think that's awesome too.
Okay. A couple more things. I would like to address why the commissioners decided to pull the United Way proposal for small businesses, nonprofits, and child care from tonight's agenda. We have worked hard on the details of this plan for months. Many of you as council members participated in this process. But unfortunately, our plan, which would put money in the hands of hardworking small business owners looking to grow and expand, and nonprofits who are serving the most needy, does not have the support to move forward from you all as members of the council. I'd also like to thank the United Way, Abby Desborough, and Danielle Isbell for their many hours of hard work in drafting this proposal at our request, as stepping up to administer this fund. The city fund will move forward as approved. I also would like to thank the Terre Haute Chamber of Commerce, West Central Indiana Small Business Development Center, and everyone else who was involved in helping put this together. And lastly, I feel I need to apologize to these groups for not coming through for them. We fought hard for this, and just right now, we just don't have the votes, and that's all I have, and I appreciate the time.
Okay. Any other information to be presented from elected officials, other officials, or agencies of the county? Okay, if not, we'll move on to the next item, number 4, the first reading of the summary reference of proposals, ordinance, and resolutions. Number 1 was the resolution for reallocation of existing appropriations for 2023-15 Adult Protective Services out-of-series transfer. Number 2 would be additional appropriation 2023-68 infractional deferral law enforcement grant and new equipment. Number 3, additional appropriation 2023-69 seized assets, vehicles. Item number 4, additional appropriation ordinance 2023-70 ARPA grant courthouse dome, that was withdrawn. Resolution of reallocation of existing appropriation 2023-16 juvenile center non-reverting fund out of series transfer. And then the resolution for 2023-17 amendment to the statement of benefits for Great Dane tax abatement. So we will address those under the appropriate ones further down in the meeting. So the next one is a report of committees. And I'm not aware of any reports right now because our committees are, we've had our budget committee made a report, and on the only other committee we had was the Baker Tilly, and it has been dissolved once we got the budget passed. So resolution and ordinances other than appropriations, we have 3 of those. And the first one would be the resolution for reallocation of existing appropriations on the 2023-15 Adult Protective Services, and that's an out-of-series transfer. Now, that came from the prosecutor's office, and they weren't going to be able to be here, so if if our legal counsel, Mr. Wright, could address that.
Yes, Mr. President. So this is a request from the Vigo County Prosecutor's Office requesting an out-of-series transfer in the Adult Protective Services account, specifically moving $1,599.87 from office supplies to contractual services, an appropriation to infraction deferral, $20,000 of law enforcement requests, which include investigative funds, and $11,600 for equipment related to investigations and the apprehension of fugitives, and then an appropriation to the seized asset fund for equipment, new vehicles. They're requesting $88,000 for 2 additional law enforcement vehicles for the Drug Task Force to be purchased by the Terre Haute Police Department. They indicate in their request that they are expecting an additional $25,000 to be deposited into that account over the next 2 weeks, and they're letting the council know that they may adjust their request depending on that deposit.
Okay, so anyone have any questions on that? And then I believe Mr. Roberts will be here
That's right.
at the regular meeting when we vote on it, so we could ask questions at that time as well.
That's right.
But this being the sunshine meeting.
With the Terre Haute PD Drug Task Force cars, is that something we normally participate with?
It is,
or-
it is
okay.
very much routine for for the infraction deferral funds to be used by Terre Haute City Police Department. They are, I don't know the percentages, Marie, but I would say they drive 75 to 80%
yeah.
generally of the tickets written. I mean, you know, and that's where that money primarily generates from, so it is very routine.
Oh, so it's from that, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so this
Gotcha,
is,
no problem.
these are not, tax dollars. These are, I mean, at least related to,
Forfeitures.
the law enforcement vehicles, those are seized asset dollars, which are dollars collected civilly through law enforcement
Right.
investigations that are, forfeited, and they are routine, I mean, David can speak to this better, but the Drug Task Force is the primary agency
Well, and they
within the
probably go
department
all the
responsible.
way
They do what they
around,
can.
yeah, I was gonna say, it's not like drugs see the border of Terre
At the
Haute
city.
and then, yeah, that's what I figured with that.
And that was on our page 8 in our packet. I omitted to say that.
Yes.
It started on page 7, but page 7's page 8, so.
Thank you.
Or page 7, I'm sorry.
Appreciate it.
No problem.
Any other
Because I
questions
love
for,
cars.
on this ordinance, or this resolution that we'll be taking action on next week? If not, the next resolution is for reallocation existing appropriation 2023-16, the Juvenile Justice Center Non-Reverting Fund. I believe we have the Executive Director, Norm Loudermilk II. Have any? That's what it says on there. Got number 2 on it, right?
Sorry. But I didn't.
Mr. President, members of the council, yeah, I
He's the
can't believe there was another one before me.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
didn't know him, but yeah.
There's only one
I didn't know I
you.
put that on there. Oh, it is on there, sorry. Yeah. Be deleting that when I get back, yeah. So.
I mean, that's the only reason I said it, so.
Well, Mr. President, members of the council, thank you very much for indulging me. This is an end-of-the-year transfer from an area of the budget that comes from our non-reverting fund, which is money that's generated from the care and custody of detainees, juveniles from other counties. We take kids from 37 different counties at the juvenile center, and over the course of the last few years, we've been able to accumulate some of that money. Of course, the council's been good partners with us in allowing us to supplement the budget and to spend the money to either increase programming or to remodel the facility. And so we have additional money in our food line item. We would like to transfer $35,000 into building repair and, I'm sorry, $35,000 transfer, but $25,000 for building repair, and then $10,000 into institutional supplies. And as the letter that I sent you states, we're wanting to repaint the cells. They have not been painted for probably 15 years. So all of the cells, the cell blocks, the day rooms, intake area, hallways, all of those things need to be repaired. The windows to the control room need to be refinished. There's a special barrier so you can't break them. So we need to replace about 6 of those windows. We replaced some a couple of years ago. You guys appropriated money for us to do that, and now we're trying to finish the job. The $10,000 for institutional supplies is really just everything. Detainee clothing, hygiene needs, toilet paper, paper towels, Clorox wipes, all of those things that we need to make the facility operate. We also have certain requirements. The DOC requires about hygiene, so we have to get some, more towels, more T-shirts, underwear, bed clothing, things like that. So really, it's just an end-of-the-year move. And the reason we had some additional money in food is because currently we're lucky enough to get some grants from the Department of Education for our food that helps offset some of the costs that the taxpayers incur. The reason we always budget for a lot is in case we don't get those grants. This year we were able to get those grants, which equaled about $50,000. So that left us some room in the food line item to do these projects. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Anybody have questions for Mr. Loudermilk? I'd just like to say, I appreciate whenever we get this type of information and we're able to use this non-reverting fund. I don't know if everybody realizes it, but that's non-tax dollars that's being able to be used to help in the operations of the center. So,
Yes, and we couldn't have done it without the council's support when that ordinance was introduced.
all right, well, we'll take action on it then next week.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. The next one is the Resolution 2023-17, the amendment to the Statement of Benefits for Great Dane tax abatement. And we have with us here tonight Nick Weber, I believe. And he's going to explain to us what starts on our packet number on page 9.
Thank you very much, Mr. President and members of the council. My name is Nick Weber, and I'm an economic development consultant with Fagery Drinker Consulting. I'm here with Al Martinak from Great Dane, which is located at 4901 North 13th Street here in Terre Haute. This is a resolution for your consideration and vote next week involving a Great Dane tax abatement. Back in 2021, this group approved 10-year real and personal property tax abatements as an inducement to a significant expansion Great Dane was considering. The company was looking to consolidate activity from around the country, from a number of sites, into one site, and the Vigo County location was selected for that investment. The project was designed to occur in 3 phases, with a total capital investment of $50 million, the creation of 125 new full-time jobs, the retention of 483 existing jobs, all to be completed by December 31st, 2024. The resolution before you tonight would approve amending the Statement of Benefits to reflect some minor modifications to those project details, and I'll walk through what those modifications are. There's 3 of them. First one, the original project anticipated real property investment of about $7.75 million. That real property investment largely was to occur in phase 1, and phase 1 is complete, so we now have an idea. We went from estimate to reality. And what was determined after that phase 1 completed was not as much activity to the building needed to occur, not as much investment needed to occur, and we'd like to move that investment, that real property investment figure, to $3 million. Item number 2, following the first phase, it's clear that phases 2 and 3 will be impacted by many of the challenges still present involving getting needed equipment and materials to the site. Therefore, we'd like to move the completion date for the project to December 31st, 2025, which is a 1-year extension of the time to complete the project. Finally, we are not changing the total expected personal property spending of $42 million. That is staying the same. However, the abatement process requires us to allocate that spending across 4 different categories, and we'd like to adjust the spending within those categories to more accurately reflect how those dollars will be spent, but that total $42 million will stay the same. The other elements in the project are expected to proceed as originally outlined, including employee headcount and the retained headcount. The other thing I just want to point out is that we are not out of compliance at this point, right? We had to sit until December of next year, until next year, but we wanted to come ahead of time and talk to you about all this. Mr. Wright has been very helpful in putting this together, but we wanted to collaborate with you all on this change and explain all of these matters to you. With that said, I can answer any questions about the resolution, and Al will be more than happy to answer any specific questions about the project or the site or the company.
Yeah, so I would say I appreciate your proactiveness on this. As I've talked with some of the people that are here tonight, when we prove a tax abatements, we're really held to what's on the SB1.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the things that we look at the SB1 is the dollar amounts that you talked about, the completion dates, and the head count for the employees. So it's good to see that that you're being proactive on it, and since we have done this one back in 21, we've had many other tax abatements since then. So this one, in economy of scale, looks pretty minimal compared to some of the other ones that we've acted on recently. So
Sure.
I just wanted to say thank you for your time and open it up for anybody else that might have questions.
I just wanted to make comment, because one of the things I've always asked when we do abatements is community engagement, and I attend all kinds of different events and functions, and I've seen Great Dane on sponsorship and things, so that really, it's good to see that, and, you know, I'm a North Ender, I drive by that plant, I don't know how many times a day, and, so to see growth in that part of the county, a lot of our industrial growth has been south, I work with North students, so again, as we kind of move forward, anything that can be done to like work with our people in that area and throughout the county, I appreciate, and I appreciate you supporting some of our local events and organizations, so thank you.
And I did say it on the other ones, but I would encourage you to attend next week, so in case there are any questions that came up or anything, discussion points before we would take action on that resolution, Mr. Weber.
We'll be here. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're moving on to old business. As Commissioner Klinkenbeard already addressed, the request for old business has been withdrawn, so we won't be taking action, or we don't have discussion at that time on that. We do go to new business. Under new business, we have additional appropriation 2023-68 and fractional deferral, and the 2023 payroll amendment, law enforcement grants, and new equipment as item one. And I'm going to ask the Chief Deputy Auditor to address all the ones that have to do with payroll at this time. Now, when we take action on it next week, we would take action on them individually, but now you can kind of tell us why that they're on the agenda as we see them now, if that's okay.
Yeah, basically, all these are your end-of-year cleanup. If you remember, you increased the salaries through the year for the employees, and so this is the end-of-the-year cleanup for appropriations. I went through them, see what we needed through the end of the year. You'll see that some of them may just need perf, some of them need it, because within the one series, I figured there was enough maybe in another one line item I could transfer to get us through the end of the year, so we didn't have to over appropriate for the end of the budget year. And so that's what all of this is on your payroll adjustments. This is the complete cleanup. And if you look at that, there is a, she advertised it, the advertisement there. You will
Starting
see
on
them
page
broke
3.
down by the fund and by the department. If you go through county general, you're gonna go clear back to page 5. Total county general was $797,540. And then it goes on down. Cume Bridge was $24,300. And the way we have to do additional appropriations per the fund, you will see in fraction deferral, I think it's that, also includes the law enforcement grant and equipment new that was requested by the prosecutor.
Right.
So that's why that's added in there. But all the rest of those, if you have any questions, that is the complete cleanup for the end of the year for everything that you did this last 6 months, I would say.
And then to clear that up is, just for example, when we do it, we'll do the general fund, and that will take care, whatever we have to do, that'll
You
take
can
care
do
of all the ones
one-
in general fund. Then if we have to do highway, we'll take care of highway. If we have to
Yeah.
do prosecute.
You can do general all as one. It's just broke down by department. I have to advertise that way.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions about the payroll amendments? That's, when I opened up the agenda and saw it, and I thought, I didn't think we had that many things on the agenda, but this is a cleanup
You really
item.
don't. It's just,
Yeah, so.
and general fund takes up most of it because all the department breakdown.
Anybody else have a question on that? Do I need to go through and read each one of these that we need
I
to
don't
do
think
since we
so,
have it on the
because they've
agenda
been
item? Okay.
advertised and
Okay.
they're there.
And then we will address them individually or as the group for the funds. Any questions on that before we move on? If not, we're going to move on to item number 8, which is public comment. Under public comment, we ask you to limit your discussions to 3 minutes, and we ask it not to be on agenda items for the Sunshine meeting. So this time, yeah. So if this time, if anybody would like to speak under public comment, we'd welcome it. Please state your name and where you live. Thank you.
Real quick, just as a point of reference, I was under the belief from the county's website that it was 5 minutes.
Since I've been on, it's been 3, but I'll give you extra 2 minutes.
Greatly appreciate it. My name's Ian Loomis, IAN, LOOMIS, West Terre Haute, up by
Okay.
Green Valley. First off, I'd like to thank the County Council for having this meeting, allow us to speak. This will be in regards to the Vigo County Council's special call meeting that happened on July 13th, 2023, with Richard Shagley, the attorney who represents Wabash Valley Resources. My timestamps in this discussion relate to the meeting recording that's on YouTube. While I recognize the significance of the SB1, equally as important is engagement, as Councilperson Thies stated. Mr. Shagley states that Wabash Valley Resources is going to spend approximately $700 million of personal property to improve the plant, along with $70 million of real property investment. He discussed the beauty of this project is that the construction timeline is 2 years and that the company's already signed a national maintenance agreement with the trades, and that this is a huge deal for Vigo County. At 38 minutes and 12 seconds, Mr. Shagley begins by discussing what has happened since the last county council meeting, which he describes as incredible, and that the permit was approved for the underground storage of CO2. In an even bolder statement, at 38 minutes and 23 seconds, Mr. Shagley states it's the first one in the country. Regarding Mr. Shagley's comment that the permit was approved for underground storage of CO2, this was presented to you, the Vigo County Council, as it was a done deal, everything's good to go, and there were no more hurdles to jump through. It's clear in the video. It was presented exactly like that. This is not true, clear and simple. The fact is that 2 draft permits for construction of underground Class 6 wells has been issued. However, no permits regarding Wabash Valley Resources were active or approved, nor are they now almost 4 months later. All this information is public and accessible by the EPA's website. In fact, by public record, it can be seen that the public comment period with the EPA didn't end until August 21st, 2023. How can Mr. Shagley state that the permit was approved when in fact it wasn't and still isn't to this day? And according to the EPA's website, that decision isn't anticipated until January 2024 at the earliest. When looking at the comment made by Mr. Shagley, it's the first in the country, this was just another statement boldly made to you, our county council, to pave the way for these tax abatements that's rooted in falsehood. If one were to go back to the EPA website mentioned earlier, you would see that the ADM company has a Class 6 well that is active, not just a draft permit, in Macon, Illinois. I urge you all to go back and take a moment to watch the video and see how this was sold. It was presented that Vigo County has this done deal, first in the U.S., once-in-a-lifetime project from a company that's been so gracious to want to build in Vigo County, but all they need is this tax abatement. So how should Wabash Valley Resources have handled this? Directly from the EPA's website, in addition to EPA's public participation process around draft permits, the EPA recommends applicants engage the community surrounding their proposed project before applying. Effective community engagement can help establish lines of communication between project developers and local stakeholders, foster inclusion, rebuild trust that's essential to the long-term success of Class 6 ground storage projects. Prospective Class 6 permit applicants are encouraged to consider the potential disproportionate and cumulative impacts posed to communities near the project area and local stakeholders. Applicants should learn about and engage stakeholders early in the permitting process to learn about each community's specific concerns, especially before making any requests to the community. Community engagement is informed via research to understand community needs and identify any communities that have environmental justice concerns, end quote. Do Vigo and Vermilion counties have a long history of environmental justice concerns, specifically around coal mining, reclamation, and matters under our land? Absolutely, especially in the areas that this project will be focused. Anyone who is from around the area would know that and seek steps to alleviate these concerns. But then again, as quoted by a Wabash Valley resource representative, that could grow into a PR nightmare. During the meeting, Councilperson Thies asked for Wabash Valley Resources to continue to show a level of commitment and that we see engagement. But this company has not shown any engagement or level of commitment to the public to date, except after they were called out about not being engaged or listening to the community at the August EPA meeting. Councilperson Thacker praised Daniel Williams from Wabash Valley Resources for going to Rose-Hulman and staying in the area, discussed the number of times that he's been to Wabash Valley Resources and toured the facility during different phases. None of this level of engagement has been presented to those that will be directly impacted by this project. The Vallejo County Council voted for these tax abatements with facts that were presented to them being misleading and/or lies. Your constituents believe the Vallejo County Council owes it to the community to reverse the tax abatement granted to Wabash Valley Resources until they show defined and continued engagement with the stakeholders. Progress, as described by Mr. Shagley, is actually made, and continued understanding and respect of our community needs, especially the local landowners, is observed. I close with the following thought. At 44 minutes and 10 seconds, Mr. Shagley summarized his statements perfectly when he said, "I've already started to think about grandkids, and that the goal is to have your kids, is that your kids are close so your grandkids are close." Local elected officials want to know why the community is still upset, while the community is frustrated, and while the community is feeling unheard, and why the community feels betrayed. It's because of our kids, grandkids, parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, and others who have trusted us with the land that we call home, and the stark realization that we will all be the ones forced to deal with the fallout from this pilot project that was sold to you with lies and public manipulation. Thank you.
Thank you. Very well prepared, very well delivered. So, is there any other public comment at this time? Oh, okay.
I do want to say thank you for coming. I always appreciate when we have people come and reach out, including emails or anything ahead of time too. I mean, anytime, feel free, but I appreciate, we like seeing people and hearing from them in the community.
Hello.
Hi, my name is Marie Osborne, Osborne. I live on Hollingsworth Place. My home will be above the plume area. The first notification that I ever heard about any sequestration of carbon or CO2 was a letter we received from the EPA. Never, even though I am less than a mile away from this proposed well site, never did we receive anything. If you go into the public press, like everybody in here has been researching. No, I'm sorry, I don't have the red shirt, but I am one who lives in that area. They've researched, we've looked. Did you do any research on what carbon sequestration and what CO2 pipelines can do? Have you seen the other information from Wabash Valley Resources where they are intending to bring more CO2 from outside of this area to be put into the ground here once they get everything set up and going? There are things online that you can find that have Wabash Valley Resources name all over them. And I agree with Ian. We have had zero outreach, and basically Wabash Valley Resources, after the first 2 meetings, has said, no, we'll meet with the people we want to meet with. We'll have a meeting at our facility, and we'll determine who gets to come and talk to us. We've had no notice of any of this. And I would hope that the council is looking at not only how these people have treated those of us who are going to be, like he said, bearing the burden of this for years and years to come. This is going to be under our homes, under our community. It's not going to be very far from Fayette Elementary School, where most of these people's children and grandchildren attend school. There's going to be CO2 pipelines running near our homes that, if they explode or if they blow up or they leak, can cause instant death. The other concern that I have, not only for my home, is how is Wabash Valley Resources going to be transporting not only the feedstocks that they're getting in to produce the anhydrous or the hydrogen, whichever, because it keeps changing, and how is that going to be transported into our communities? And also how, if they are exporting anhydrous out, how is that going to be handled? Because after what happened in Teutopolis, I hope that every person in this chamber understands that this is toxic and this is deadly. And I don't know, are they going to be running semis down 3rd Street to get to I-70 full of anhydrous? And I'm sure we already have that happening now, but not on the scale that we are going to have with this company. And when people asked about emergency services, have you been in touch with the local fire departments? We were told basically that if there was a leak, that they would be coming, from Home and Field, that the Air National Guard would be the ones who would be able to come and help us. They would have the equipment and such to help us. From the Air National Guard to my house on Hollingsworth Place, or within a mile of the well, you are talking going all the way across through Terre Haute and up 63 and another 4 miles out. They are not going to be there before I'm dead, or my family is dead, or their families are dead. And I just hope that you take this into consideration, because a tax abatement was given on false information, and this is not a company that can be trusted. Thank you.
Again, thank you for your comments on, and, you know, I can't tell you that I can only talk about my personal. I knew about the carbon sequestration. We were told that it was safe, that they have it in other places. It's in Greenland, and so, you know, and when we do tax abatements, we don't always know the processes that they're doing at these places at tax abatements. Like Intech comes in here and what they're building and what their environmental record is. We don't always know the environmental record. So I've talked with some of the people that we were at the commissioners meeting and told them my position as why I voted the way I did at the tax abatement. And I was just honest with them. That's all I can be. And I voted on the information I had at the time. And that's the statement I can make. So is there any other, or anybody else like to make a comment, or is there any other public comment?
I welcome, I mean, sounds like a lot of you have done the research. Again, if we're accessible, please just send us if there's articles or something specific. I've looked into it in different areas, but maybe you have different things. I mean, you know, resources can be endless, so just if you have something specific, please let me know.
And I got an invite to your website and or Facebook page, and I joined it, and so I've been reading articles on that since doing that. Is the gentleman in the back that you want to speak as well? Yes. Come on up to the mic, please. Please give us your name and.
Please. My name is Bill Wilson.
Okay.
I've lived where I'm at for 78 years now.
Okay.
Whole family was in the service. I'm so glad we got a new mayor now.
Okay.
If he just listened to us, he'll do more than the last mayor.
Okay.
We tried to get him to help us with this. Nothing. But have any of you people seen this on the Facebook?
Yes, I have, and I will tell you, this is a time for public comment. You can make a comment. It's not a question and answer session. So
I know.
I'm just going to give you heads up on that. So you can make a comment, whatever you want. Don't expect that you're going to get answers from
That's
us.
okay. I just want you people to know who you're dealing with, though. These people are crooks. Every one of our meetings we went to, they lied. Every one of them. I don't see how come they're not in jail. I mean, this is very serious here. If this does not get stopped, on down the road, your kids are going to really pay for this. I mean, it's not for me. You people got to pay attention to what's going on. And, you know, we pay high taxes. I left all this money floating around. We're retired. Our taxes keep going up and up and up. I mean, wait till you people retire. But forget about that. You've got to pay attention to these people. I worked there before they shut that down. I retired from there. I told my friend, I said, you be careful right here. This place is a bomb. It's going to blow up. I talked to 2 Boilermakers. One of them had 2 months to go. 2 months after I retired, it blew up and killed him and his buddy. I mean, I was 6 miles down the road where they wanted to put this dump, and I seen it going through the air. Now, these people in here telling all kinds of lies and trying to get money. It's all money. They paid everybody off in here. I don't know about you people, but they paid a lot of people off. Anyway, think about that. We're not letting it come out there in our territory. You got to shut them down. we're gonna shut them down if nobody does. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Whitney Boyce, and I live near New Goshen, Indiana, very close to where this is going to be put in. I want to first say thank you so much for taking the time to listen to us, and I've been watching you just as you've been watching us, and I appreciate the fact that you are taking notes.
Yeah.
That tells me that you're taking our concerns seriously, and thank you for that.
You're welcome.
A little bit of background on me. I teach research writing for a living and communications for a living. And I appreciate the fact that you are all willing to admit that there are two sides to every story. And I appreciate the fact that you specifically are saying, you know, you vote with the information that you have, because that is absolutely true. And we understand that too. We absolutely do. So I just want you to know that based on my experience in research, the research that is on the other side is not illegitimate. It comes from reliable resources that are backed by peer reviews that come from databases and government websites. So what's happening here is that they're using communication bias to show only their side of the story. Of course, as a company, they're going to promote what sounds good for the county and what sounds good for them in their bottom line. But my children go to Fayette Elementary. Their model, which is one of the cheaper models, says that that plume's only going to expand 2 miles. Well, other legitimate research says that it will expand hundreds of miles. Hundreds of miles. Any child that is impacted by this, whether it is a case of bronchitis, of increased asthma attacks, which as a teacher I see so many, seizures, which I deal with almost every day, one child is too much. And legitimate research shows that it certainly could be one child. So I appreciate you listening to the other side of the story as well. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Doug Scott. I live in New Goshen. I truly, truly believe that the council has been misled in this whole deal. I also truly believe, and I'm not as smart as some people, but you can't put two things in the same bag and expect that bag not to explode. There's no room for all this stuff to put in the ground. It's going to go somewhere. It's going to leak out somewhere, whether it's here locally, whether it's 30 miles away. It has to go somewhere. That's all I have to say. Thank you. Please reconsider the abatement.
You're welcome.
My name is Kathy Brock, and I live in West Deerhope, and I just want you to reconsider the abatement. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, come on up to the mic.
Debbie Watson. I do live in New Goshen. I will live near those 2 wells. I will live in between those 2 wells. One of the things that also concerns all of us is if this leaks, which it's inevitable, it could happen, not only will we be affected, the whole state of Indiana will be affected, because the aquifer that we use our water from is under almost the whole state, including some of Illinois and some of Ohio. Once your water has been contaminated, we'll all be done. I mean, it's not just us that has this problem, it's our whole state.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? Well, I do appreciate everybody coming out tonight, and not only, as Councilman Thies said, if you have other information, and like I've done is of trying to follow you and learn a little more information on this, I think on the website it has our email addresses. I believe it does, and you can send us emails. I've gotten emails already on this, and I've responded to them. I try to do it timely. So I do appreciate your concerns, and we're glad to listen to you. So, if no other public comment, then we'll move on to the next part of our meeting, which is adjournment. There's a motion for adjournment. Is there a second? All those in favor? Aye. Thank you again.